Welcome to the second lesson of our Violoncello da Spalla master course, the Sound Alchemist edition. And as I mentioned in the previous lesson, this lesson is going to be about transforming your relationship with the instrument. So building this link between your body and the instrument. And again, we are going to do this although you potentially do not even have the Violoncello da Spalla yet, just to help you get even closer to your becoming Ambasciatore del Violoncello da Spalla, ambassador to the Violoncello da Spalla, and becoming one of us, a sound alchemist. So grab your violin or a viola, attach the belt under the tailpiece, under the fingerboard, and the other end of the belt under the tailpiece. Make sure that the length of the belt is correct. So this lesson is about connecting all the things, and I'm going to speak about the things that I didn't cover in the first lesson. So now we are going to speak in detail. So the first detail is the length of the belt. So attach the belt onto your violin or the viola, then pass it around your back. If you wish, you can pass it also the other way, the way I explained you in the previous lesson. So put it under the chin rest or under the tailpiece, then wear the instrument this way so that the belt or the string goes under your arm, like so. Let me demonstrate you this posture. So the belt goes like this. And this is important. So the length of the belt is something that a lot of players get wrong from in the beginning. I also did. It took me a long time to discover the optimal length. So for many years in the beginning, although I played as a soloist on Violoncello da Spalla with a very, very good orchestra in 2 weeks after I've built my first instrument, I did it wrong. My belt was too long, and I don't want you to do the same, to make the same mistake. So my belt was so long that the instrument is hanging literally too low. Well, this is not really a problem because the instrument is still very stable and it still can play the instrument, and the instrument is not going to wobble. The instrument is stable, but there are moments in music, technically tricky, when you want to support or stabilize temporarily the instrument with your chin. And in this posture, you of course cannot do it because the instrument is simply too low. So how do we solve this issue? We solve this issue by making the belt a little bit shorter. And I want you to experiment with this so that you get more familiar with the Spalla technique, even though you maybe do not have the Violoncello da Spalla just yet. So when the correct belt length is such that your posture is absolutely natural and relaxed. So the instrument is sitting high enough. If you want to support the instrument with the chin, your chin is right there, but you do not need to bend your neck. And this is a very bad posture which you would definitely want to avoid. And you avoid this by making the belt short enough. Are you getting this? This is very important, so experiment with this. Now the other thing, which is also crucially important, and you probably got it wrong in the first lesson, now in this lesson we are going to fix it, is the right angle of the instrument. So here's the issue. If you simply hang the instrument, it is probably going to hang like this. And that means that if you are shifting, the instrument is going to fly away. You cannot shift like this. So how do we solve this problem? We solve this problem by pointing the instrument gently forward, like so. So when you are shifting upward, the instrument cannot move because it's stopped against your right shoulder. This is very simple, but very important. This is how you really build that connection between your body and the instrument. So remember, the belt, the angle is very important. Another thing which is crucially important, I frequently call it the Da Spalla tetrad. There are 4 important things in the technique, and in these lessons we are going to dive in more and more detail into all of these things. But another important thing is holding the instrument not too high. A lot of players make this mistake. They hold the instrument too high because this is the posture to which they are used to as a violin or viola player. When you play the Violoncello da Spalla, you should not do this. Why not? Because if your instrument is high, you cannot possibly bow perpendicularly to the string. It becomes very awkward. But if you are pointing the instrument downward, then your bowing becomes very naturally perpendicular to the string. So this is another crucially important thing. Another important detail, when you move the instrument slightly away from your body, you create that space for the instrument to resonate freely. You remember a contemporary of Johann Sebastian Bach, Mattezone, wrote that Violoncello da Spalla in particular speaks clearly and cuts strongly through the space and can pronounce notes clearly because there is nothing that holds back or prevents its resonance. And he mentions that it is supported on a strap or a belt. And this is how you do this. So you create that space that is important for the sound, important also for the correct posture. And also when you push the instrument gently away from your body, you create this angle which you need so that you avoid a bowing that is simply too vertical. And even though if your bowing is a little bit vertical on the A string, you bow in a very different way, well, slightly different way. Rather than using the weight of your arm, the feeling is like you are embracing, literally hugging music. And here's the important thing, and this is what we are going to speak about in the next lesson. Bow is the bridge. The point of bowing is right in front of your heart. So you place music literally in front of your heart. And there is a certain undeniable, scientifically proven physicality in this body lesson. When you play it this way, you feel differently. Just try saying thank you from your heart. You feel it differently. Your audiences feel it differently. And the same is true when you play the Violoncello da Spalla. And again, this is yet another deeply transformative experience that you unlock as a violin or viola player, something that is absolutely inaccessible on the violin or the viola. I'm not saying that those are not remarkable instruments, of course they are, but you unlock this absolutely new dimension in the world of music and connection through music and musical expressivity. So what is your homework today? Your homework today is to simply experiment with the correct belt length and the correct posture, be it violin or viola. You are getting one step closer to becoming another ambassador of Violoncello da Spalla and unlocking all this ocean of incredible, enriching repertoire that is simply such a joy to play. I look forward to sharing with you more insight about the bow and why the bow is the bridge in the next lesson.